Ryan Glover here. I wanted to do this video about the New York Film Academy. I went to the New York Film Academy, so I was in two different programs, the one-year acting program and then the MA Film and Media program. I want to talk about first the one-year acting program. And this was like, I'd already been acting for a number of years, and it always had been my dream to, go to the New York Film Academy. I went to the Burbank campus, which is just beautiful. Like, I felt like it's a really great campus. It's beautiful. They have like a lot of like resources, the Mac computers at the time, like, Final Cut Pro, they have like, the script software. So like the equipment and the resources make it top notch. Like you get access to a lot of like student filmmakers, just like, people who are creatives and, have the dream. It's a lot of foreign people that come to the New York Film Academy. I would say like majority of your students are foreign. And like, I really enjoy that because you get to meet people from like all over the world. And most of the students are either like, who are American, like are usually in the military, so like at least in my program, I met like, a number of like people who were veterans, utilizing the post 9/11 bill, just like I was. And I thought that was really cool because initially, like, I got accepted like right after like I graduated from college, but I couldn't go because they weren't accepting the New York film. They weren't accepting the post 9/11 bill. But like now they're a yellow ribbon school. And like when I became a yellow ribbon school, I started going. And I remember like, I caught a bus from Chicago to Los Angeles, like on Greyhound. And that's like, a long bus ride. I didn't have any place like, to stay at the time. But I lived there previously, like the year before. So like I was waiting like, for a friend. And like I ended up like staying in these hotels on Sunset. And before my friend Teddy Styles, he came and got me, and like, I was able to stay with him like where he was staying in Orange County, which was like way too far. But I eventually got an apartment in West MacArthur Park. That was my first apartment. Around the time, like it was about like $600 a month. And you could catch the red line. That's one of the things about LA. Like people talk about the public transportation not being good, but like from my experience, like I found like the public transportation to be very useful. Especially like, the red line from Westlake MacArthur Park, it wasn't really far to get to Universal City. It was a different background. Like, I felt like the area, like, in Westlake MacArthur Park is kind of depressing compared to like, the ambiance of Burbank. And I would like, walk from Universal City all the way around to Burbank. And I really enjoyed, that walk. And just like, I met like a lot of like different celebrities, like, just being outside in Burbank. I remember one time I met Jamie Foxx. I met, Tiny Lister with my dad, and my brother. Like, I met like, John Badham at like, the speaking events. They had like a lot of different really great speakers. Louis Gossett Jr. when he was alive. And like, sometimes you even get like to have like, conversations and, I met D.L. Hughley right outside of Knifel I really enjoy that area. About the school though, one of the things and stuff that I really enjoyed about NYFA is that like, a lot of the teachers are really knowledgeable. Like some of them like, have done some very impressive things, and like, they share their knowledge. Like, some of the teachers I remember was this lady from Groundlings, and like, she taught the improv class, Suzanne Kent. I remember like, this guy named Anthony Montez, like, and most of these people like, studied Meisner technique, which like I know a lot of actors like, feel like, Meisner isn't useful. But like I really enjoy Meisner, and it was like it gave a good solid background, I feel, for auditioning, for acting. And like I was able to really get some like working to work like right after I left Knife, and I felt like I was prepared. I felt like I had a lot more confidence than before. Like, I had like, tools in my belt. And it introduced me to theater, like, when I actually have a love of theater now, because like, in the classes, you would read like, different plays and do different scenes, Israel Horowitz. I was introduced to him. I was introduced to James Baldwin, reading his plays. I was introduced to August Wilson and John Guare's 6 Degrees of Separation, who I ended up doing a monologue later on. So like, I felt like, that the teachers who were really, really knowledgeable, and like, some of them were directors or actors, and they had worked and they were doing projects, and like a lot of that was inspiring, and we did like, interesting exercises and classes. One thing I will say, like, that there are like a lot of people who, just kind of go to the program because like, they want to act, like, so they want to like, actually be auditioning for roles, so like they won't be in class. So I did have like, issues with like, as far as like, let's say doing scenes, and, because it's LA, like, actors wouldn't take scenes sometimes as seriously. It was harder, like, to really like develop your skills as an actor. Like, as far as like scene work, it would be a lot of times where people wouldn't show up, but I would just do monologues, which is kind of like hard to learn how to act from monologues. But like, I did find like, as far as like, that a lot of scene partners would just miss days. And so like absenteeism is probably a big problem. And like at the time I was going there, they didn't really crack down on it. But I enjoyed the 1-year acting program. I ended up not finishing it. But after I left, I booked like my first professional acting job. It was on TV One, Find Our Missing. I played Lewis Ross, the stepfather of Hassani Campbell's a crime reenactment show. And like, it was at the time, all over the television, like pretty much everybody I knew, like, a lot of people in the Black community saw it. And, it was a nice role to start my acting career. I later went to the MA Film and Media program, and that was really a good experience because it gave me an idea of like how directors, because I was working with directors, some of them from foreign countries who had already had like, worked extensively, and I worked crew. It was very grueling. It was a different experience than the acting program because I feel like, as a director, you're doing a lot more work, and I was able to like, make some short films. And I was really proud of the work like that I was doing. Like, you have access to great equipment and you're learning the process of filmmaking. And it gave me like, as far as like other tools that I use like, today, because like I create YouTube content. And so like, I know like, as far as like, when I pick videographers, what to look for. I know like, when I'm working with different actors, and it's like, I think like really aided me like, in my development as an artist. So like I think like, the New York Film Academy is a good environment, for creatives. The one thing I will say is very expensive. Like, that the tuition was $25,000 a year when I was going there, but my post 9/11 bill was able to pay for it. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without like, the post 9/11 bill. I don't know like if I had student loans, if I would recommend like, doing a school, but like I enjoyed the experience overall. Like I think like, if you have like, other alternatives besides the post 9/11 bill, like cash, or you're not a foreign student, I don't know if I would recommend necessarily going to the New York Film Academy. But if you have the post 9/11 bill, like I think it would be like, a great school. And like, yeah, I was getting BAH. And the BAH in California is a lot higher than other places. One thing I will say too, like if you decide to drop out of classes, they do give you a nice refund check if you're a veteran. I can't speak for like, other students, but like the veteran refund check, and then you could pay it back, as you go. So I don't know, if you went to NYFA, let me know your experience. And like, I got to meet some great people. Like, I remember like King Batch was regularly there when I was going. Crystal Stewart, like, who like, she was on like, Tyler Perry's show, For Better or Worse. It was amazing, like, actors, Aubrey Plaza. So yeah, the New York Film Academy in Burbank, like, like, comment, subscribe.